Stop it with the Kiki.
Oh, it's funny. I like it.
Who's Kiki? It's from a Drake song.
Oh,
Is it Kiki, do you love me?
And Kiki, do you love me? You
got it on tape, video. We got it on tape. I love it. We're already live. Okay.
There he is. Kiki wants a meatball.
He wants some meatballs.
Just to clarify for the internet, they are not meat balls.
Want balls.
They're veggie balls.
Veggie balls.
Want balls.
They're chlorophyll balls.
Wait, you know there's a character chlorophyll in the book, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to go for. Oh, you have the physical book? How cool.
Andrea's boyfriend.
I couldn't find it in the library. It's annoying.
I like the cover. It's my hair now.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, internet. We are only lovers left in the library. We are a book club.
Oh, okay, got it.
Because I don't even.
Last time I tried to say that, you were like, "We're still a vaginal fantasy subset."
Okay, we are, but so we're a vaginal fantasy subgroup. And we used to read way more romance. Before I kind of forgot what kind of book club this was. And so whenever someone nominates it, they'll be like romance options, and then it'll be like the genre that doesn't fit the category at all, which is fine because we get to read other stuff too. I'm just saying I haven't like read a lot of like dinosaur smut in a while.
Those were the days.
Those were the days. We were those golden days.
There wasn't that much thinking involved. We could just read and talk about how bad the book was and whether the sex was good or not.
Yeah. I mean, I know complaints, but I don't know if to say like we're a romance book club that doesn't read romance anymore because reasons. So
I guess just say we're a feminist book club.
Yes. I mean, we always were, but I guess now. So yeah, sorry, that was awkward. And so this month we read Dreadnought. You want to show the book, Tash? April Daniels. And I think it was the pick. I wasn't the pick. It wasn't. I just thought this one was the most interesting of the picks. I don't know. But it was the Pride Month. And so this was a young adult trans superhero story. And so we read it. Well, we tried to read it. It was a chore for me. Wow. I started reading it.
You're just starting off on like a.
I'm outing myself.
If the author has gotten this far.
It was. I mean, first of all, things that had nothing to do with the book. I moved to Virginia to work in the summer. I was like,
which is why she is with me.
There's a lot of emotions. A lot of my schedule has like changed immensely, like 2,000% different. And also, I don't know, I just was not in, like, I'm not reading as much as so it took me forever to read this.
Okay, but also to be fair, you've read like 3 books in the time that you, like.
This is true.
We just didn't want to read the book.
I was eschewing my responsibility.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm.
I would like to award Tashay with the gold medal for finishing this book first. Silver to Andrea for finishing a second. I'll take the bronze for doing it last. Okay, let's talk about this book.
You want me to read the back cover?
Do it.
The really top header is blocked by the library sticker, so I don't know what that says. But the actual body is fine. Until Dreadnought fell out of the sky and died right in front of her, Danny was trying to keep people from finding out she's transgender. But before he expired, Dreadnought passed his mantle to her, and those secondhand superpowers transformed Danny's body into what she's always thought it should be. Now there's no hiding that she's a girl. It should be the happiest time of her life, but Danny's first weeks finally living in a body that fits her are more difficult and complicated than she could have imagined. Between her father's dangerous obsession with curing her girlhood, her best friend suddenly acting like he's entitled to date her.
That guy was a prick.
Oh my god.
Oof, sorry.
And her fellow superheroes arguing over her place in their ranks, Danny feels like she's in over her head. She doesn't have time to adjust. Dreadnought's murderer, a cyborg named Utopia, still haunts the streets of Newport City, threatening destruction. If Danny can't sort through this confusion of coming out, master her powers, and stop Utopia in time, humanity faces extinction.
Dreadnought.
I thought that was a really accurate book blurb.
That blurb was triggering to me.
But like, I feel like sometimes we read books where like the blurb makes it sound like it's gonna be like. This one was actually pretty accurate.
That is what this book is about.
Indeed.
Okay, so who wants to go first? Give me your thoughts on the book. Let's start with Tashay because she finished it first.
Not fair. You targeted.
I liked it.
I liked the book. I thought it was a quick read, but I didn't have as much stuff going on during that time. Why is your computer shaking?
Oh, Indy's moving.
No, you are moving your leg. Don't blame Indy.
No, it's not.
He is moving. Internet. Even.
I was trying to find the thing with the best friend so that I could have it later. All right. Anyway, I liked the book. I thought it was an interesting read. It presented a lot of challenges because of the subject matter. And as I was reading it, I was trying to decide if there was enough balance between a realistic portrayal of attitudes towards trans youth and enough sensitivity towards what the subject matter is. The character of Danny is interesting, but also very stereotypical in my mind. There's the abusive father who, for no particular reason, is just very angry all the time. There's no illusion of alcoholism or any sort of dependency issues. There's no real explanation as to why the father is the way he is, which, you know, can happen at times, but I do wish there would have been a little bit of an explanation as to why he was so abusive and angry all the time.
He was just a homophobe.
He was just a horrible person in just a lot of different ways. But even before knowing that Danny was transgender, he was very, I guess, just judgmental of the fact that his son wasn't living up to his expectations. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the characters in the book were very stereotypical. So a lot of the main players, the mom who was like the wilting flower figure, the dad who's very abusive. Danny herself had moments of being an interesting character, but I don't know if I was fully convinced that this was written from the perspective of a teenager. There was a lot of, it would go down one direction and be in one specific kind of tone, and then it would get really kind of immature. You know, I don't know that there was necessarily a really well-developed perspective. It'd be like, oh, I'm suffering from all of this. Oh my gosh. Boys suck. And yeah, that might be the case with some teenagers, but it felt like a weird, I don't know if it was necessarily a super authentic voice to read. And I do think they did a good job of the incel best friend, who I knew as soon as I realized her best friend was a boy and that he was a loner, would be turned into this emotionally abusive character. I wasn't surprised at all that as soon as Danny's character gains the physical appearance of a very, very attractive young woman, the best friend was like, well, now you have to fuck me. Now we're going to date because, like, duh. Now I get to prove to everyone that I am a nice guy and I get to have sex with nice, like, pretty girls. What I did like was how the other superheroes that were featured, the League, they were flawed. They were varied. There was a more realness coming from that group of characters. Because you did get a character who was kind of very just accepting and fine with everything. And you did have a character who was more self-serving. And you had a character who was just bigoted. it was a little much at times. I don't think that it was a very authentic representation of that perspective either. Because then the problem is you start entering territory that can be very, like Christine said, it can be very triggering. It can be very difficult for someone who's had any sort of experiences in how their identity is accepted or rejected by others. And so having a character who's supposed to be portrayed as a superhero turn Danny's identity into this whole argument about how she's stealing what it means to be a woman, and she's like doing what every man has always done, and that's just like abusing women and violating women. I don't know. It was like very up and down for me. The concept was cool, and I also kind of lost it when they finally introduced the supervillain and all that kind of stuff was going on. The one bright star is Calamity. I loved her character. She's just the really cool secondary character who just like shines and is very go get it attitude, and you know it explains where she gets all of her gear. She's like, oh yeah, duh, I rob bad guys. Like I don't have any money. How am I going to afford this motorcycle? I go kick people's asses and I take their money because they're bad guys, and then I use it on things. That'd be me. I'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah.
There's some funny lines too. She has some funny ass lines like, "You white girls get all the good stuff" or something.
Yeah, because she's not a white girl. She's like a minority too. And it's never kind of clearly stated, but you know, you understand that it's there's an effort to have inclusiveness and diversity in the story, despite the use of kind of stereotypical tropes. But in trying to achieve a diversity, it can be very like how much can you try to create a character who's bigoted before you're just like creating a cartoon?
Sorry,
welcome back. It's okay.
So yeah, it was an up and down for me.
I felt there were it's weird, you know, because there's you've read more books with trans characters than I have.
Really lately, just like total coincidence, but yeah, I've read a couple.
And I felt like there were times because I don't actively seek out seek out this kind of literature. I don't know. I just kind of like let it happen to read it. I was like, whoa, do I have the tools to read this? You know, will I be able to read this with a discerning eye and still enjoy it? I felt like that bogged me down a little bit too. I'll be 100% honest. There's no reason why it should, but I just kind of had it in the forefront. Will I be fair to this book? And I don't know I don't know. I liked the premise a lot, but it had me with like so many questions. I have a lot of the same issues with it that Tashay had. I have an issue with the world building because this place didn't feel like it just felt like whenever anything was explained, info dump, and then we move on. Info dump, and then we move on. And I felt like that and the pacing of the story really could have done with just a little bit more padding out. And it's a lengthy book, but it could have done with less. Or you know what? It could have done with like some more action scenes.
Not very big.
No, I mean I could have read way more fights, you know, way more ass kicking than I actually did. Now, as for the transphobic comments and the homophobic comments and all just the hatred hurled at Danny, I feel like it was really strong, like turned up to 11, but I don't feel like that's inaccurate to the real experience of trans people. And I felt like it was meant to make me feel uncomfortable. It did. I didn't feel like it was very cartoonish, but it was just kind of like, oh, all these people are Twitter trolls that like don't actually own Twitter. They're just like saying exactly how they're feeling. The dad really upset me. I wanted that. I read it after Andrea, and Andrea she prepared me for it. She was like, "There's no redemption arc here, Kris. I'm sorry. Like, don't wait for it." And I was kind of hoping
an ass kicking. I just wanted an ass kicking. I didn't want him to be like, "I'm sorry, you are my daughter." I wanted Danny to be like, "You know what? Fuck you."
But it's hard. It's complicated because it's your family, you know. So I was feeling a lot of things, but I did enjoy the story. I like the aesthetic of it. Again, I was thinking of The Incredibles the whole time, and I was thinking about Violet and Voyd and how I like hope that happens, as opposed to like Violet and that one kid that's not a superhero. I don't know. It's just kind of anyway. So, that's how I felt about it. Okay. Also, my question, right? So my question to you guys, because this was the big one, the one that I asked you this morning. Do you think, or how do you think the story would have changed if instead of Danny starting off as physically male and then being trans female, had been trans male, as in that started off with a female body and then Dreadnought changed them into a boy? Do you think that people would have like been as the characters in the story would have been as upset, or do you think that the fact that it was that he changed into a girl that that really created the extra conflict of females? What do you think? Because I kept thinking about this. I'm like, what if it was switched?
So, I think it wouldn't have been the same, because I think culturally we accept boyish girls more than we accept girlish boys, and also there's just like a lot of like male so I think it would have been seen more as a strength, like, oh, now you're just physically stronger and like this is a boost to your superhero. But I do think the book, I don't know, I feel like I didn't maybe understand everything she was saying, and maybe Tashay, you can, I don't know, you read it a while ago, but I feel like the book tries to not like, sorry, I'm still thinking about all the stuff I was talking about out there. I don't think that the book tries to justify the stuff that the like bad characters say about trans, but you know how there's that one scene where what's her face, Grey Witch, whatever her name is.
Grey Witch.
Yeah.
How she's trying to say like you're like making women, like by you turning into a woman, you're like making our stories like less important because like you rape us and you don't know what women are like, or like she went on this like whole spiel that I think was supposed to try to like kind of show us like where she was coming from, but it like fell really flat for me. That's not really directly related to your question, but I was just thinking about it now, and I remember being very confused when I read that, and I don't know if anybody else felt the same way.
I feel like her character tried to be turned into this like uber feminist that
like a turf
getting talked about online about. I think she's supposed to create this, represent this idea of like the feminists who hate men and who just want all men to die, and is the feminist that all incels think are what all feminists are.
Yeah, when she says, I knew exactly where this was going, when she's like, but you've never even put on a tampon. Like, dost thou bleed? That you are not a woman.
As soon as that line got mentioned, then that I was upset by that comment as well, because it's the assumption that it takes a certain set of things happening to you for you to count as being a woman. And then it was turned into like a character. And I don't think that if Danny had gone from female to male, that there would have been any sort of nothing close to the conflict that's written about right now, because the book not only touches on the idea of trans identity, but it also really uses a lot of abuse on women, like the idea of the liberties people take in society to dictate what you do and don't do because you're a woman, how they can and can't talk to you because you're a woman. Like now that Danny is female presenting and has this feminine body, you can say whatever you want to say to her. You can do whatever you want to say to her. You can do whatever you want to do. And the best friend immediately is like, oh, you have a vagina now. Okay, I own you. I can do whatever I want. We've known each other for a long time. I'm gonna.
You won't be gay.
And there's the mom character too, who's so like you know, whatever dad says
Passive
goes.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to fight your father on this. And you can tell there's like a second where she's almost about to express that she's either acceptant of the fact that Danny is physically a girl now, or is at least not gonna be against it.
Yeah.
But then the abuse comes back. The like history of abuse at the hands of the husband comes back, and that's gone. And you know, it's like PTSD with her character. So there's so much going on. I feel like the book could have either tried to be simpler or tried to be a lot longer and delve into a lot more, because once you take a character who at the beginning of the book is physically male, have them turn through whatever process into physically female presenting, and already have them in a situation where they're in an abusive household, and there's superpowers, and there's a bad guy. You almost don't care about the cyborg attacks because Danny's trying to figure out her identity and what's going on in her family life. But then it ends on the superhero stuff, and you don't really get too much resolution on the personal level. And so it's like, what did you want me to pay attention to? Am I supposed to be caring?
Do you think that the book is trying to do too much? Like trying to
No, I think the book could have done all of those things if it had been like written better. I think it was a good book, but I do think that if it had been
go deeper, man.
Just written a different way.
Well, it is young adult. It can't be like, you know.
No, that's a cop out. I've read young adult books that like go real deep, and
fucking what is it? The Re-Education of Cameron Post.
Oh my gosh, that book. Oh, did you ever read that one too?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
On Tashay's recommendation.
It's like that book, but it's like
back up. I'm the one who recommended that book to both of you. Get Tashay's recommendation.
But then Tashay reminded me, and then I downloaded it when I downloaded Scribd. I remember.
I will take credit for that book.
You can have it. It's fine. Both of you all recommended it to me. At one point, I eventually read it and was like, my heart!
No, so that's a young adult book, but it delves with like a lot of social issues, and it does it in a very kind of respectful. It doesn't talk down to the audience, whereas this book at times I think takes like a little bit of an immature turn to try to keep them interested, like oh shucks, and then it'll be like.
But also, I don't feel like there's so few books like this. Why should this one pull its punches? Let's maybe leave that for a different book down the line.
No, see, I don't know. I guess like I've read a couple of books now that are like middle grade or like upper elementary, young adult that have trans characters, and I think what was really different about this book is just that in all of the other books, there's a really big focus on the whole like process of transitioning or that desire to transition. So for me, it was like a little weird to like read this book and then it's like page 3, she is now a girl. And like we're already there. And I don't know, I mean, I don't know what people who've experienced this want to read in a book, but I just feel like the other books were like so like realistically representative of how hard it is to get to the point where you have that body. Whereas in this book, it was just like, boom, yeah, you're there. And I don't think that's like a bad thing necessarily. It was just very different. Because I think so much of the book is Danny wanting to be female and then dealing with other people accepting her as female, but then we never get to go through that process with her.
Danny doesn't get to do it either. Maybe that's why it's such, maybe that's why everything is so I'm exploring now with you guys. Maybe that's why it's so abrupt, you know, the things that happen, because her transition was just magic.
Yeah, and I agree with what Andrea says, because really the only kind of situation where you understand that Danny has always felt that she was in the wrong body is when she's painting her toenails behind a building. And it's such a small, like, subtle moment, but that's all you get of this experience of this girl who's just stuck in herself. And then immediately it's, oh, here's your new body. By the way, it's perfect. Like, you're a supermodel. You're just
What did you guys picture her, by the way? I pictured her like Supergirl. Like, you know, the CW Supergirl blonde. You know, the one with the show. Aww.
I probably would picture friggin' Haley Baldwin or something, because literally she says, oh yeah, I was thinking about like a supermodel. Like the most beautiful girl I could ever imagine. And then that's the body she got.
You know what I also thought was weird is like she's supposed to have this like super
she's so cute. Come on.
This like super beautiful like body or whatever, but like in the book, like we don't get like her reactions to her body like at all. You know what I mean? Like if you had transformed overnight into like the body you've always wanted to have, like I feel like in other books they pay a lot more attention to how the body feels, either that it, you know, certain parts of it feel wrong or you like certain, like I feel like that's been like a really common thread. And obviously I don't know what this feels like at all, but like in all the books I've read, that's been like such a common theme is there's descriptions about their bodies and what they feel is right about them or not right about them. And like with her, I feel like she turned into this like beautiful supermodel, but like we don't really get her like, I don't know, brushing her hair or like admiring herself really very much. Like I
don't know, because the whole Dreadnought stuff is also like there.
I know. I just wish there had been more of those like little things to like, I don't know, like make me like I feel for, not that I didn't feel for her, but like I wanted to live the moment more with her.
Yeah. But I get it. Not like good, not little like human moments.
Yeah.
To make this character very well rounded. Yeah. I get what you mean.
Like even if there had been a moment after the transformation where she like sat down and like did her nails
again
in public, yeah, like that would have been a big moment because that was the thing that she used to sort of identify herself pre-transformation. And then afterwards, it would have been like a nice reminder that she was still this person. But it's like, oh, I know that I'm a girl. Gets turned into girl. Oh, cool. This body is awesome. I'm super hot.
I just feel like I don't really know who Danny is. Like, I hadn't even pictured anyone in my head because I wasn't even really clear on what she looked like physically. And I wouldn't be able to tell you like what her personality is a ton because there's so much of the book is her like running around like caping or like talking to these people or whatever. But like, I just wish I had gotten more of a sense of who Danny like was before all of the crazy superhero stuff started, because once it starts, it like doesn't stop. And I just, whenever she's not doing superhero stuff, she's just like doing homework. So like, I feel like I never really got to like know her very well.
I wonder if that's something that gets delved into in the sequel, because the first book is about someone hiding who they were for a really long time, and maybe that was a hindrance to her being able to actually develop a better like self-identity. And then now that she's in this body and it's not the constant having to be aware of like not presenting female in a male body, maybe now in the second book she actually you'll get more of her personality.
I wonder if they'll make this into a TV
personality series. Was like,
I would watch it. I'd watch.
They probably wouldn't cast the trans actress.
Oh, so. Scarlett Johansson can do this.
She quit.
She quit?
Scarlett Johansson pulled out of the movie.
Wait, after all the stuff she said, she just like.
She's like, I've given it thought, and I realized that that it's an insensitive move, and that blah blah blah. I mean, I think that the quote about talk to whoever was from someone in her team. I don't know if it directly came from her. But she quit. She's like,
I just feel like that really translates to this is super bad PR, and so I'm not gonna do this again.
They're like, you're in the fucking Marvel universe, Scarlett. Do you want to keep making money?
That's because the reception to the Black Widow movie was super lukewarm. Everyone is like, oh, it has a female director, and literally everybody on planet Earth was like,
okay,
right, too little, too late, too controversial at this point. Calm down.
Aww.
So it's just like some fireworks or something outside.
Interesting.
But yeah, okay. Question for you guys: if you receive the Dreadnought orb, and it makes you have like your, what would the aftermath be for you? Because I already said like clear up my acne big time, just like no acne at all, and maybe go like. I don't know. I feel really happy with how I look, but I would want my hair to be like just 2 inches longer so I could like tie it up, and then no acne. And I don't know what else. Let me think about it. Do you guys have like your wish list? Like if you got the orb, what would it do to you?
I feel like I want to say like a smaller nose, but every time I bring that up to people, I get like really aggressive responses about how my nose is perfect, even though I've never really been into it. So maybe like slight airbrushing to it.
It's like, I feel like that's such like a specific Tashay thing that I now know.
A little taller.
Just
A little taller.
I love it.
Maybe 2 inches taller. More muscle definition so that I don't get so tired going up the stairs. No. Okay, you know what? Fuck my vertigo and motion sickness. How about that?
Wait, what?
My vertigo and motion sickness. I'd want to fix my fucking inner ear issues. I don't even need a nose job. I'd like to not get nauseous watching video games.
A stronger stomach, and then I could eat spicy food. And
dairy.
Well, I can eat dairy. It's not.
Do not listen. She cannot eat dairy.
I want to watch what I want to watch and like fucking be on boats and play video games and not like shit myself if I eat something inappropriate, like not great. I want to eat whatever I want. That's what I want. And fix my vertigo and motion sickness. And like maybe just get a better back and tendonitis go away. That's it. That grandma body going on. I bought supplements that are good for joint health to see if it helps me not be sore when I like do activities like walking a lot.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm dark in here. I'm gonna
I guess probably my eyesight. So I don't need contacts and glasses to exist. Really, I mean, if I was going to be a superhero, I think the eyesight and the muscles would be the most important because all someone would have to do to defeat me is like flick some liquid into my eyes. My contacts would pop out and I'd be blind. Like I could be killed in like 2 seconds flat. Eyesight definitely important.
Book, you guys.
Very pretty.
Showing us the view.
Looks like the book cover.
It does.
Oh, Tashay, you should take a picture there.
And now it's going to be super glamorous and beautiful, even though that was only one shot.
I didn't take a photo.
Oh, okay.
But that's how it always is, though.
Holding my
yeah, I think just the eyesight and
I'm sorry.
just stronger and toned, and I guess my hair not being like frizzy.
Okay.
Ooh, just like never frizz. Even it could be pouring rain and it would just stay perfectly non-frizzy. That's it.
Like Medusa from. So.
Oh wait, I changed my mind. I want snakes for hair.
How the Dreadnought orb works. Like you need to.
No, snakes never get frizz, and they're cool, and they serve as weapons, and they could all be my pets, and I could name them Tina. All of them.
They're all Tina.
They're all Tina.
Okay, let's see. Do you guys have your favorite female superheroes?
Well,
I'm sorry I stepped on your tail. Don't look at me like that.
No.
I'm getting like looks.
I'm not like, to be perfectly honest, I'm not like super into superheroes. So I've never like thought about who my favorite would be because they're all just in like a lump of like,
Okay,
these
who do you always fight with when you play Injustice?
Wonder Woman.
Okay. Good answer.
But it's mostly because she has the whip.
Andrea, there's
a good reason.
Okay, you're right. It would be Wonder Woman, and then I would do mounted archery and have a whip.
Oh, there's a new Puerto Rican superhero called La Borinqueña who like was designed and has like the Puerto Rican flag and big curly hair, and she like fights with Wonder Woman.
She has a unitard and big boobs and big ass. Maybe that's the body I want.
You know who I really like too? There's these comics about like Miss Marvel, where she's like a teenager.
Oh, yeah.
And she's Muslim, and it's just really cool. It's just very different. And her family is like super conservative, and like they're trying to like marry her off, and like she can't go anywhere without a chaperone, but she's like secretly Miss Marvel, and it's like kind of cool. So I like her.
That's a good series. I read it, internet. That's a good series. Let's see. I can't think of any right now.
There's a new there's gonna be a new Iron Man who's like a young black girl.
Yeah.
And she's like a super genius. And she's got
I don't think she counts as a superhero, but I love her.
When she's Black Panther finally, when she inherits that.
Yeah. I go for Rogue from X-Men, but me as Rogue because I'm selfish and I want everyone's powers.
I can't think of anybody right now.
Like, remember every time you and I would talk about something, Christina, and you'd be like, what if this happens? And I'd be like, no, because I would show up and I would save you, and this would happen, and nothing bad would ever happen, and I'll fix it.
I'm the damsel in the scenario always. I'm like, Tashay is always coming to save me.
I'm always saving her. Nothing bad is ever happening to me. I'll figure it out. If we get trapped in a car, I'll break the windshield out. If we get kidnapped, I'll stab them in the neck. But she's like, but what if you then? I'm like, no, I'm not going to die. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, she's impervious to pain.
I'm Rogue because then I can be bulletproof and self-healing and fly and laser vision and claws and multiply and go through walls and make a fire and make the lightning and talk to dogs.
I can't think of any. You know who I really like, and I can't remember her name. Oh my God, Tashay.
He's just always so concerned looking.
He heard some firecrackers outside and is like vigilant.
Vigilant. His face is always like, Mommy?
You saw the Instagram video I sent you?
Andrea parada, Andrea standing right next to him, and he's like, Mommy, where are you?
All right. Any final thoughts on Dreadnought? Would you recommend this to someone? Like, would you say, like, hey, you should read this?
I would if they like if that person was into superheroes and or was queer, I would recommend it because I feel like they get really excited about the fact that the book exists and the premise exists. Like when I heard it, I was like, yay, someone wrote this book, and I was really excited. I don't know that I would recommend it as like, this is really great literature that you should read, if that makes sense.
But it is like a diverse read.
It is a diverse read, and so I would recommend it as a diverse read, but not because I thought it was like excellent writing and like, oh my gosh, everyone has to read this book.
It's not like Binti. Binti's like amazing.
Yeah, like Binti is something that I would be like, oh my gosh, like everyone should read this. This was really, really good. This is more like, I don't know. Like I'm glad it exists and I want to support it and give the author money and like, you know, put it out there. But like, it's not, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars.
I would recommend it just because at the end of the day, representation does matter. And I don't think that it's a book that will cause harm to any specific group of people.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And
I think that it adds to the conversation, which at the end of the day, that's what everyone should strive for.
Yep. So, and I definitely read, and I've told Christina this before, like sometimes I trudge through books that I don't like because I'm like, oh, this book is like really diverse and I want to support the author because we need more books like this. like,
so what books that you've read with trans characters did you enjoy and could recommend to me and Tash, and if anyone's still watching?
Okay, can we do that thing where you like make text pop up with like their names?
Sure, sure. Or I can put it in the description.
Okay, because I don't know the titles off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
But there was this really cute one that I read recently that was like, I want to say it was like upper elementary, and it was this it had to do with like a play, and the main character, like the whole premise of the story was that the main character wanted to try out for a part that was the opposite gender.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was this whole thing, and the teacher said, you can't do it, you know, because only boys have to try out for the boy roles and girls have to try out for the girl roles. And so it's like I don't know. It was really cute, and it has like a feel-good ending where like something happens to the person who's supposed to play that role, and then it's like a sneaky like substitution kind of thing, and then everyone's like, oh my. I don't know. Maybe it's just because those seem like more realistic to me. Like, I'm not saying it's like inherently better than Dreadnought. I read it and I could see. I'm like, oh, I'm sure there's like kids going through this.
I'm open to like expanding my library always. So if you have anything that I could read, and then I could get more diverse books,
it's like it wasn't that long ago, so I know it's in my Goodreads, and then I can just tell you the name, and it won't be this like huge thing.
Josh, have you read anything with would a close and common orbit count? No,
I don't know what that is.
That's the second one from the Angry Planet.
Oh, yeah.
It's with a droid instead. I don't know if that doesn't count. I don't think so. I don't know.
I think I have, actually.
I can't think. I may
The Prince and the Dressmaker.
That's a cute.
That's not trans, but the prince is in drag a lot, and it was really cute.
Oh my god!
What?
The Four Horsemen book.
Are you getting triggered just because you're like watching it? Okay. What? Maybe it was. Oh, it's called George.
Oh, that's cute. I'm getting distracted by my hair color.
See, look, it says this is the, in case like you just want a recommendation, it says, be who you are. When people look at George, they think they see a boy, but she knows she's not a boy. She knows she's a girl. George thinks she'll have to keep this a secret forever. Then her teacher announces that their class play is going to be Charlotte's Web. George really, really, really wants to play Charlotte, but the teacher says she can't even try out for the part because she's a boy. With the help of her best friend Kelly, George comes up with a plan, not just so she can be Charlotte, but so everyone can know who she is once and for all. It's like super. It's like a little kid book, which I thought was really cool because it was the first time I had read books before that had trans characters in them, but they were all like young adult, like or at least like middle school. This was the first one I read that was like, I want to say she's like in 5th grade or something, like in the book. So it was
cool.
Yeah.
All right.
It was pretty cool.
There you go, Internet. Good recommendation. And we'll look through your list and.
Yeah, I definitely have a couple more. I just have to look through.
Okay, so anything else you guys want to add?
No, I think I'm good.
I'm glad that, and I felt like this book was really respectful to his characters. Like, not the best book in the universe out there, but I enjoyed it. I was here for like the vibe, and I heart Elastigirl forever. Okay, Working Moms. Here we go. All right, so I'm gonna tell you guys what the next book is. It's called On Basilisk Station. Take a look at that cover.
Is that like a mini like cat?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. On Basilisk Station. This is an Honor Harrington book, and Honor Harrington's first time. Don't get excited. I don't think this is a romance, but I've heard of this book a lot. It's like a science fiction classic by David Weber. And okay, here we go. Honor Harrington in trouble. Having made him look the fool, she's been exiled to Basilisk Station in disgrace and set up for ruin by a superior who hates her. Her demoralized crew blames her for her ship's humiliating posting to an out-of-the-way picket station. The Aborigines
Keep reading.
Hold on.
Anyway.
Excuse me? Okay, sorry. The Aborigines of the system's only habitable planet are smoking homicide-inducing hallucinogens. Parliament isn't sure it wants to keep the place. The major local industry is smuggling. The merchant cartels want her head. The star-conquering so-called Republic of Haven is up to something. And Honor Harrington has a single overage light cruiser with an armament that doesn't work to police the entire star system. But the people out to get her have made one mistake. They've made her mad.
Sounds like a terrible book.
I hear it's really good, and it's a really big, like it's got a huge. Let's see.
Rude.
I will not like this book.
Huh? Come on, don't be that way. I've heard a ton about this book. I'm not so happy about this Aborigines stuff, but we'll see.
We'll see, indeed.
Andrea's reading like a bad review to like for first.
It's not a bad review. That was like it was 4 stars. I should look at. Let's see what the
it's
1 star says.
It's got a ton.
Of 1 star or 5 star?
No. It's just a ton of reviews because it's a really popular book. Like people have read this for like, and it's a huge series. This book is free on Amazon, and they usually do that when there's like a ton of books, and they want you to read the first one.
Okay, all I did was click on like the bad reviews. So I clicked on the first one. It says, according to some Googling and some calculations, I made it through 54% of this book. A search using Amazon's Look Inside feature tells me I got to page 253. 253. And I still couldn't tell the characters apart.
Aww. Okay.
That's not good.
That's not good, but damn it.
I'm going to have to get one of those.
Wait.
Oh, no.
Okay, that's an exaggeration. I knew who Honor was and her cat.
She's got a cat.
Okay, fine.
We'll give it a whirl.
Fine.
All right, guys. Well, this was fun.
Wait, are we supposed to meet to read this book in like 2 weeks?
What?
No.
Isn't this the July book?
Yeah, but we were late. We were mad late reading the June book.
But that's what I'm asking. Are we still trying to do end of July?
There's no rush now. I don't feel like I'm very relaxed.
I'm not even gonna.
He looks on the screen.
Ay, Dios mío. Oh. Yum, 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 yum,
It's my life now.
yum, yum. Well, my life is this empty ass apartment, so.
Ghost is like sitting. I'm gonna just turn you so you could see like.
Ay, Dios mío.
He's mad because he doesn't fit on the bed.
Oh.
He thinks he doesn't.
Little lump baby. Look at
Ghost, come here.
Ghosty.
Come here. You fit. Come on.
Oh.
No.
Oh. Oh.
You wanted him here.
Yeah, but like now he's just ruining it. Oh!
All right. Let's say goodbye to the internet.
Bye.
Bye, internet.
Let's say goodbye to Ghost.
Oh.
Goodbye, internet. Till next month when we do a very relaxed episode of Only Lovers Left in the Library, a book club. I love you guys.
I love you too.
Bye.